Hello everyone, my name is Abir, and today I'm going to talk about our work on supporting accessible tutorial creation by blind audio producers. In this work, my co-authors are Thomas McHugh and Anne-Marie Piper. If we think about any professional music or podcast, all of them start as some raw audio recordings, and they need to go through many layers of polishing steps like editing, mixing, mastering, and so on. All these processes are part of what we call audio production. And the software that people mainly use for this work is called Digital Audio Workstation, or DAW in short. The image here is a screenshot of GarageBand, a common DAW. It contains 10 audio tracks, their waveforms, audio levels, and tons of other information represented with visual markers. As it clearly shows, DAWs are very graphics heavy, and they are designed to boost productivity of people with vision. However, there is a growing community of blind audio producers who pursue audio production not only as a hobby, but also as a meaningful career path and a source of income. These blind audio producers need to put up with inefficient workflows and inaccessible visual information such as the audio waveform. For them, this results in a much steeper learning curve for an already complex, skilled practice. Prior work on accessible audio production is limited. The work that does exist primarily focuses on designing new accessible interfaces using haptic feedback, sonification, and tangible objects. Another line of work has looked at supporting accessible practices for music composition. Still, many open questions remain around how blind screen reader users engage in audio production using mainstream tools and train each other in this skilled practice. In our research group, we have been investigating accessibility in audio production for the last few years. In our Assets 2020 paper, we presented how blind audio producers piece together accessible workflows using various mainstream tools and lead community efforts for facilitating advocacy and learning. In our present paper, we dive deeper into the learning aspects of audio production to support blind audio producers in creating accessible tutorials. First, to understand accessible tutorial creation process, we conducted formative interviews and observations with 7 blind audio production trainers. And our participants revealed 3 key aspects of generating accessible tutorials for screen reader users. First, participants pointed out why existing tutorials created by sighted people are often not descriptive enough for screen reader users. So, participants drew upon their prior experience, personal workflows, and workarounds to narrate their tutorials in a way that is suitable for screen reader users. For example, blind trainers teach UI navigation that do not rely on visual interactions like drag and drop. And they also explain inconsistent screen reader feedback in their tutorials. However, while creating these audio tutorials, blind trainers need to go through a complicated recording process. They need to jump between a number of software and hardware tools, capture multiple sources of audio, and perform extensive editing afterwards. All of this makes tutorial creation a costly and time-consuming affair. Finally, our participants also tailored their teaching style to support blind students in structured hands-on learning. They did so by breaking down tasks into short, well-defined steps, allowing students to learn at a comfortable speed, and encouraging students to learn by listening and following along. Drawing upon these insights, we wanted to investigate how we might design technologies to streamline the process of tutorial creation and consumption for blind audio producers. In particular, we wanted to explore if interactive guided tutorials that have been found to be beneficial for sighted learners can also be a suitable approach to scaffold learning for blind audio producers. With this in mind, we designed Tutoria11y, a macOS-based application for creating and playing accessible interactive tutorials on GarageBand. To record an interactive tutorial on Tutoria11y, an instructor will narrate step-by-step instructions and perform associated actions until the particular audio production task is complete. When they finally stop the recording, Tutoria11y will automatically edit out silences and implement breakpoints to divide the tutorial into smaller steps based on the timestamps of actions the instructor performed. As for the playback experience, Tutorial11y will play the instructions for each step. Then it will remain paused until the learner has completed the suggested actions. Once they do that, the tutorial automatically resumes and plays the instructions for the next step. This cycle is repeated until the learner has successfully completed all the steps of the tutorial. Let's explore a brief demo of an interactive tutorial recorded in my voice and how a screen reader user might follow it.
Hello. In this tutorial, you will learn how to remove everything after the first 4 seconds of a track. First, press the dot key until you reach 4 seconds and then press Command T to split the track.
2 seconds, 4 seconds. Split regions events.
Great job! Next, press the delete key to move everything on the right side of the split.
Select.
Congratulations! You completed the task.
To evaluate Tutorial11y, we conducted design exploration sessions with 5 visually impaired trainers. Our findings highlight that Tutorial11y simplifies the tutorial recording and editing process by reducing the need of multiple applications for recording and editing audio. Participants shared that this could lower the barrier to tutorial creation for other blind audio producers who are interested in sharing their knowledge with new learners. Dylan said, "Tutorial11y is just mindlessly easy. It puts me on autopilot almost because I'm not thinking about, oh man, is this recording? Is that mixed? I just need a mic to record." Furthermore, since breakpoints are implemented automatically without requiring any input from the instructor, Dylan appreciated that he did not have to concentrate on the technology. Rather, he could just focus on narrating and performing the content of the tutorial. He did not need to repeatedly go back to the Tutorial11y window or perform any additional key presses to mark the breakpoints. Since Tutorial11y can automatically edit out silences from the tutorials, it reduces the overall time needed to create and share tutorials. Rob said, "I think the biggest thing will just be time saved. It's a lot easier to go when a lot of the editing is already kind of done for you." Our participants also shared their thoughts on how Tutorial11y might augment the tutorial playback experience for blind learners. Regular audio tutorials require learners to be responsible for deciding when is an appropriate point to pause the tutorial and replicate the tasks described. However, interactive tutorials relieve learners of this responsibility and allow them to focus on one instruction at a time. Rob said, with their breakpoints just waiting for them to complete the action before it picks up again, that's gonna make a certain group of people feel comfortable learning at their own pace. Moreover, unlike regular audio tutorials, Tutorial11y doesn't require learners to switch back and forth between multiple applications to manage tutorial playback and perform the audio production task at the same time. This minimizes the burden of context switch for new learners and allow them to focus only on following along the task. Dylan, who has ADHD, thought that this would be very useful for screen reader users who are neurodivergent, where too many tasks can make them feel like, I am behind now. Now I gotta pause the phone. I gotta rewind. Interactive tutorial puts it into like a single tunnel focus of just do what it says. These findings encourage us to reflect on the role of technology in supporting accessible learning in audio production. Our formative study revealed that despite the technical complexities and accessibility issues of tutorial creation process, our participants deeply valued contributing to their community by sharing their knowledge. And we also saw how important their experiential knowledge is in making tutorials accessible for blind learners. Tutorial11y kept blind instructors and their knowledge central to the tutorial creation process and at the same time automated some of the pain points by reducing the need of multiple tools and extensive editing. Taking Tutorial11y as an example, rather than viewing technology as a means to automating the entire tutorial creation process and replacing the expertise of disabled creators, we could rethink technology's role as one that supports them in sharing their knowledge more seamlessly. Please read our paper for more details about the Tutorial11y application and our findings across both studies. Thank you.